right, we are live.
Good. All right. Mr. Chair, we're all ready.
All right, I will then call this meeting of March the 27th of the Executive Committee to order. And just to remind everyone to treat each other with respect and cordially, both the elected officials and the staff. And just remind us it's also being live streamed. So remember to identify yourselves when you speak. And so we can be sure to comply with all the meeting rules. And also that all votes will be conducted by roll call. And so Beth will be doing roll call votes for us each time we need a vote. And with that, I'll ask Beth to conduct the roll call to see who all is present.
All right. Just a reminder, I will call your jurisdiction and just let me know if you're here. Aberdeen. Apex.
Brett Gant, here.
Chatham County. Durham, City of Durham. Durham County. Hillsborough.
Here, Kathleen Ferguson for Hillsborough.
Johnston County.
Bushwater, Johnston County here.
Lee County. Micro.
Katie Garcia here.
Moore County. Orange County.
Jean Hamilton here.
Pittsburgh.
Pamela Baldwin present.
Sanford.
Rebecca Salmon present.
And Wake County.
Susan Evans present.
All right, we have a quorum.
Chair Lauder, I think you're muted.
So we'll move on to the agenda. Is there any item on the agenda that anybody wishes to make any changes to?
Move to approve as presented.
Okay.
Second that, Susan Evans.
I think, can I just do that by myself? Okay, we'll do that. I have to go through the roll call. So the agenda is approved. We have no presentations or recognitions that we need to do at this meeting, which will bring us to our business items. And we have 3, which are for information only at this meeting. And the first one is pay and classification study update. And I will ask Lee and Jenny to present this to us. So Lee, Jenny.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will turn it over to Jenny to give you as much of an update as we can.
Hi, good evening. I know we updated you guys last in February. At that time, they were still conducting interviews with our staff. The update is pretty much that piece is complete and they are doing the analysis right now. I do hope to have the results hopefully as soon as next week. So they are the preliminary findings at least by early April. So by the next meeting, we should have more of a full update, but happy to take any questions.
Anyone have any questions? Wow, this pace, we'll be getting this meeting done early. All right. Hearing no questions, we will move on to the next item, which is a discussion of nomination process for CPRC officers. And Lee, I will turn that over to you to start with.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think every year I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's time to start this process and we're getting close to the start of the new fiscal year, but we are. So it is time to start the process for the nomination process for your officers for next fiscal year. Officers run from July to June on the fiscal year. And typically what occurs is there's a nominating committee that that the current chair puts together to develop a slate of officer candidates for the board to consider. In order for the officers to be in place for July 1st, we would consider that it would come to the board's June 26th meeting for consideration. So obviously time is going quickly, so staff recommends that the chair begins forming that nominating committee. So just bringing this to your attention for information, and generally the nominating committee has traditionally consisted of the previous past chairs and of the board who are still board members, and has been chaired by the immediate past chair. However, the makeup is up to the discretion of the current chair, and there have been individuals who were not immediate past chairs that have served on the nominating committee in the past. And just as a reminder, the officers for the organization are chair, first vice chair, second vice chair, and a secretary/treasurer, and the immediate past chair. And we currently do have a vacancy in the second vice chair position as well. So happy to answer any questions. The staff is here to support Chair Lauder and whoever he names as the nominating committee in whatever way. Usually we'll help set up the meetings for the group. We won't participate, but we're there here as a resource for logistics and other things as you all need. So happy to answer questions about that item.
Lee, this is Susan.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm fine with the process that's been presented. Just had a couple of curiosity questions. What are the responsibilities of the second vice chair?
The second vice chair would chair the meetings if the chair and the first vice chair aren't present. And then they serve as a member of the officers, and the officers meet at most once a quarter. The most that, I mean, the meeting that I know always happens is the officers get together in May or June to have an in-depth conversation about the budget. That's usually no more than an hour or two. And the officers really don't meet more than quarterly after that. So it's a fairly light lift. I know some of you on the call have served in that position and can correct me if have anything incorrect.
I was just curious, I'm not raising my hand for it. It's vacant and just wondered how critical that was. And, sometimes on certain boards there are specific responsibilities that go with those various vice chair positions. The other question is, and I'm sure this is in our bylaws, is it a given that a chair serves a 1-year term and then moves on, or any officer, or can they be reelected to the same position more than once?
Yes, ma'am. They can. The bylaws and the charter don't dictate a length of term. Traditionally, what has happened is, the officers have progressed up each year. The other tradition for the organization is that the chair will serve 2 years when there's a change of executive directors to provide some stability. So obviously the last time that happened, Miss Jennifer Robinson was chair for 2 years when I was hired. So those are the only traditional sort of things that have happened, but there's nothing requiring just a year.
Okay, thanks. Just curious.
Lee, I was going to say, I don't think I'm going to break any traditions as we're looking for the form of nominating committee. The one clarification I probably work with you on is the past chair is now an alternate, and we'll work through that with Durham and make sure that's okay with him.
Yeah, and just for the executive committee's information, the city of Durham's delegate is now Mark Anthony Middleton. So Ms. Freeman, who is our immediate past chair, is an alternate. So the chair and I have discussed how to work through that. So
Anything else on that? And Lee, I'll work with you and we'll get the meeting started. And Kathleen, I may reach out to you since you've been through this process once or 5 times, it seems like. So.
Yeah, I've been through multiple times. I will be supporting. I do not have the bandwidth right now to chair, but I will absolutely support. And I'm willing to co-chair.
Thank you. All right, there's nothing else on this item. I think, let's see, make sure I'm not skipping one as I'm scrolling through my iPad here. The next item is the financial dashboard. And Hope, I think you're going to present this one for us.
Hi, everyone. This is just an update to the financial dashboard we presented last month. I made a few changes based off of your recommendations and questions, and added some wording, added the box with a few highlights about our financial condition. So we'll love to have more feedback if you want to see more changes, stuff doesn't make sense, anything that I need to clarify more. Would happy to hear it.
Any questions for Hope?
I have one question, Susan Evans. Overall, I like it. I like the presentation of it, and it's easy to read. I may be dense, but in the highlights section, the last statement about cash flow, I didn't follow. It says cash flow trend currently dips disturbingly low during the last and first months of the quarter. Is there a word missing there, or so are we talking about every first and last month of every quarter it dips, or am I reading that wrong?
It's kind of it's like we have a lot of state and federal grants that are reimbursement basis, and so as we get towards the end of the quarter, in the last month of the quarter, our cash starts to dip, because we don't apply for reimbursement for those until like the 4th month. And so if you're looking at the beginning of the year, until the 1st month of the next quarter. So the last month of the quarter and then the 1st month of the next quarter is probably how I should have worded that. It dips down pretty low while we're waiting on those reimbursements to come in.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, it may be.
I could definitely add that wording in there. Thank you.
Say first and last, but I understand what's happening there. It just wasn't clear to me when I read it. Okay, thank you. Otherwise, looks good to me.
But on a positive note, the 2nd month of every quarter is really, really good.
Glad to know we have one.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, I will say the dashboards. I know at my day job, and we're trying the town of Clayton has some nice dashboards for elected officials. So this is a nice thing to have. Take a quick look at things, and you can dive deeper, ask questions if you need to. But anyone else have any questions or comments on the dashboard?
Mr. Chair, if I may, so our plan is, we wanted to get a lot of feedback on how this is designed. And so our plan is not to have this as a dedicated item anymore at every executive committee meeting. It will be part of your packet, but certainly during the meeting, if a member of the executive committee has a question about the dashboard, we're certainly open to answering it. But we had it on the agenda just to sort of get it ready for prime time, and it'll just be in your agenda packet from now on for every executive committee meeting.
Sounds great. All right, then the next item is the consent agenda. And then we have 4 items on there. You can see those 4. Is there any of these items on here that anyone wishes to have removed for later consideration?
Move to approve as presented.
And that was Kathleen Ferguson of Hillsborough. And do I have a second?
I'll
Second,
second Susan Evans.
Do I have a second? And Beth, would you conduct our roll call vote for us?
I will. Just a reminder, 1 vote per jurisdiction. Aberdeen,
Will Mullaney, aye.
Apex,
Brett Gant, aye.
Chatham County, City of Durham, Durham County,
Heidi Carter, aye.
Hillsborough,
Kathleen Ferguson, aye.
Johnston County,
Butch Lauder, aye.
Lee County, Micro,
Katie Garcia, aye.
Moore County, Orange County,
Jean Hamilton, aye.
Pittsburgh,
Pamela Baldwin, aye.
Sanford,
Rebecca Salmon, I.
Wake County.
Susan Evans, aye.
All right. Passes unanimously.
All right, then we'll move on. We did, since no items were removed, we go on there, no public hearings. That brings us to the executive director's report. Lee?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members of the executive committee, just a couple things that I wanted to bring to your attention. In terms of your schedule, just as a reminder, we have a full board meeting coming up in April. And we do encourage in-person attendance for that meeting, and it will be the full board. Staff's working on some really interesting presentations and conversations around homelessness issues in the region. And so we think that'll be really engaging and good for the full board to take part in. So the next executive committee meeting will be in May. And at that meeting, you all will be conducting the public hearing and the initial discussions on the budget. And so we are well underway with budget development. Just as a reminder, with the changes in the charter, we used to have the budget out by the 15th of April. That date has changed to May 15th. But we are required to inform the member governments of our proposed member dues by April 15th. So we'll be sending some information out probably in the next week or two around that, and have the budget out closer to May 15th. Other than that, I do not have anything else. I do see that Ms. Ferguson's hand might be up, so I just want to make sure, see if she had a question.
Yes. So City Vision is the last week of April. Are we going to have a conflict?
That is a great point. We may.
I know that our board's going, so this is Rebecca Salmon with Sanford.
Okay.
At Hillsborough, I know both of I and my alternate will be going to, actually I'm presenting
Okay. All right. Let us appreciate you bringing that up. We'll have some conversation internally and be back in touch. But we want to make sure we have really good attendance. So my initial thought is we're probably going to be looking at a different date, but we'll be back in touch.
Thank you. If you need any assistance on homelessness, I am a navigator for a homeless person and in past chair of the Orange County Partnership in Homelessness, and I'm glad to support however I can.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it very much. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Anyone else have any questions for Lee? And the chair has no report this month, which brings us to around the region. So since we have a little time, we can take more than 1 minute this time to, if there's anything. And Beth, if you would, if you call the order and we'll just go in the alphabetical order.
All right, we'll start with Aberdeen. Is miscellaneous still on? Did you have a report, Wilma?
Okay, I'm on now. No, I don't. I don't have a report. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
All right.
I couldn't get
Next,
it on, it seems like. Okay.
do what? Okay, we'll move on to Apex.
Yeah, I have a small thing. Maybe it's of interest to the group. We we were asked to lower the speed limit on one of our roads in Apex that had some issues with. I think a dog was hit, and the residents in general were concerned about the speed. But it's designed for 45. They wanted it lowered to 35. We did that, and we did a study to see, okay, how much impact on the speeds did that speed limit change do? And it wasn't really about police being out there. It was more about how people are driving. Are they following the speed limits? And what we found was that there was no difference in the speeds. And I think it's the kind of thing where if you build a road that's kind of wide and straight, it's really hard from a safety point of view to make changes like speed limits that just don't feel like the appropriate speed. So we have a Vision Zero process in Apex that we've hired somebody that's a safety person. And kind of an interesting thing is there's not really easy solutions, I think, to some of these safety concerns. And we experienced that with that road. Thanks.
All right. I don't think Chatham County's on. I don't think anybody from City of Durham is on. Is Durham County still on? I know she had to hop off at some point.
She hopped off.
Okay.
She was in the chat.
Hillsborough.
Actually, the only thing I'm going to do is a plug for women in municipal government. So that is for anyone who are staff or electeds, and that's inclusive of the COGS as we are classified as local government. So I am chair and we'll be doing a presentation. So within Hillsborough itself, the notable thing, we just recently saw the Highway 70 intermodal preliminary plans from DOT, which would, this is something that it's been in the works for a very long time. Hillsborough first did our small area plan back in 2007. So that process is inching forward. And our last Fridays are starting up in a couple days, this Friday. So full activities, live music, arts, all over town. So y'all come.
Beth, I think you're muted.
Sorry.
Yep, there you go.
I clicked it, but it didn't click. Johnston County.
All right, a couple things in Johnston County. One is we had one of our longtime commissioners, and he was a commissioner in the town of Pine Levels, Will Tony Bradford, passed away a couple of weeks ago. So we had the loss of really my right-hand man, as we said, in our boardroom. That was tough. He had been a mentor for me for my 6 years on the board. But we did have a very nice and well-attended memorial service and celebration of life for him this past Friday. We do have an appointment coming up. We'll probably do that first part of May for the gentleman who won the primary. So we have that to look forward to. We will have 2 new members of the board come December. Anyway, one of them just gets a little earlier start. One is a question for the group, and you don't have to answer me now, but if you have any experience with a group called Best Friends, and they typically do the trap, neuter, and not return. I can't remember what the R is for, but they've been very, I don't say vocal. They send a lot of emails, and we've talked to them, but I want to see if anybody else has had any experience with that group. And they're looking to provide some grant money to us for that program, but interested to hear anybody that's been part of that group for us. And as with everything, with our growth, I think we finally, at least we have some people interested in updating our ordinance for us. We did the land use plan last August, and I think this is the 3rd time we've advertised for folks to consult to help us with the ordinance update, and we had 3 consultants respond. So we look like we are going forward with that finally. And of course, everybody knows that's a big piece. The land use plan is not good without ordinances to go with it. So we're working on that. So that's really it in a nutshell for us in Johnson County now. Still a lot of good things happening. We got bonds to consider for both community college and our public schools, and we have a charter school that's made a request for capital funding. So that will be a very interesting discussion for our board as we consider that moving forward. Any advice on that? If anybody else has considered it at the county, and any of my county friends on there consider that, let me know what you think on that as well.
I can tell you how I feel about it. No. That's coming from a former public school board member.
All right. I think Micro is next.
Hi everyone. Not much to report from the town of Micro. We're chugging along with our community building. I saw today they were paving the parking lot, so that's very exciting for us. But other than that, same old, same old.
All right. Orange County.
Yeah, hi. The biggest issue we're facing is a dispute between the management of our Orange County Sportsplex and a nonprofit youth hockey league. So it's always interesting what things you can run into in county government. And that's it.
All right. Pittsburgh.
As you know, I'm Pamela Baldwin, town of Pittsburgh. We always have a lot of things going on in Pittsburgh, but I will just say this one thing, and that is we have a budget retreat that's coming up that we will be having next week on next Friday. And everyone, as you all know, we'll be working on our budget. That's the usual thing. But for Chatham County, I'm not, of course, Pittsburgh is in Chatham County, but I just wanted to remind everyone about Wolf Speed. And I'm sure everyone saw that on television yesterday about, it's not quite finished, of course, but it's sort of a preview that everything is looking good. We're excited about it. And hopefully that will be another big employer for the town of Siler City and the surrounding areas, even the town of Pittsburgh, Chatham County in general. But we do look forward to that. And that's all I'm going to say about those 2 things right now. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sanford.
Hey, this is Rebecca Salvin with Sanford, and we are celebrating our sesquicentennial this year. So we are kicking off our 150th year with a big birthday bash that we are having at the fairgrounds. So it's a day-long family-friendly event, April 6th. So if anybody is in a neighboring community to Sanford and wants to bring your family and your kids, your grandkids, and come down and celebrate with us April 6th at the Lee County Fairgrounds, we'd love to have you, and we'll be celebrating all year. So we're excited. That's it.
All right. And we will, I see that Mr. Carver is back on, so we're going to jump to him. Does Lee County have anything to share?
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. I apologize for being late today. For those of you that don't know, I've gone through some rather challenging health issues, and that's why I've been absent. And it's really good to see your smiling faces back again. Lee County continues to move in the area of budgeting now. I'm sure all of us are faced with those kind of issues. And most recently, we were talking to the school board and their expectations, and trying to make to complement the expectations of the school board and the taxpayers that the county commissioners are required to work with is a little bit of a challenge for us. I'm sure in the economic environment that we're all involved in, there's an awful lot of pressure on our taxpayers with the inflation and things, and we're really struggling to try to meet the expectations of meeting the needs of our school children and at the same time our taxpayers. I'm sure that's not new information to any of you, but other than that, I will say it's good to be back, and I'm really sad that I missed so much in January because I've heard such good reports about what you all are doing. Anyway, it's good to be back.
We're glad you could join us. All right, and last but not least, Wade County.
Okay, well, we're not a municipality, so I don't ever get to highlight, fun things events that are happening, but I'll highlight a couple of good things that we've approved recently. One is we approved the schematic design for our Western Regional Center for our Health and Human Services Department. And this is going to be in Cary on the same campus as Dorcas Ministry. So any of you in Western Wake know about Dorcas, and we're really excited about this. So, Wake County is 800 plus square miles and over 1.1 million people. So we have taken the approach in the last couple of decades that we can no longer expect people to come just to one area in Raleigh to apply for benefits, child welfare, SNAP, health care, and all those things. So we had already opened 3 other satellite locations, one in the southern area and Fuquay Arena, one in the northern area up near Wake Forest. And so now we've been working on this plan for several years, and construction will be getting started. It'll be finished by 2026. So we're really excited about that Western Regional Center coming on board. And for those of you who think that the Cary area doesn't have people with needs, let me tell you that they do. So, so we're excited about that. One other quick thing I'll highlight: we've started used to do this every 4 years. Now we're doing it every 2 years. I guess all the counties have this situation where you get some money back from your county ABC board at the end of each fiscal year. They have to give a certain amount to the state and then a certain amount to nonprofits they support, and then they give us the rest. Well, unfortunately or fortunately for us, people of Wake County have been drinking a lot of alcohol. So we've been getting more and more and more money. So we take that money that we get each year and we put it in a separate fund balance, a restricted fund balance. And then we use it for some programs in our operating budget that relate to, supporting organizations that are dealing with addictions services and those types of things. But we've started using a chunk of it to award to community partners for capital improvement projects. And so we just went through an RFP, and our staff took the applications and went through the list, and we just awarded almost $7 million to 9 different organizations in Wake County that help with, and this is just for capital improvements that they need for facilities, and we will award a grant for up to 45% of the cost of the project. They have to have enough funding for the rest of the project from other sources, but these organizations deal with helping with access to health care and behavioral health and homeless services and food security services and housing and things like that. So it's just a great thing to be able to help these organizations meet their facilities needs and expansion needs so that they can continue doing this great work. So I wanted to share about that in case that inspires any other counties to want to do a similar thing. Thank you.
So we got everybody there. The only thing that left leaves is other business, and I love a short meeting, but I'm going to talk a little bit more. One thing, we had a board officer meeting a little bit earlier, and one of the things that came to mind, and folks who have been around for a while, like myself, remember the days of pre-leave and what it was like then, and sometimes struggles with many local governments, considering what's the value in Triangle J, why are we in, and even on the town plate, I remember we had a council person question that and brought it up for us to consider withdrawing. And I just really wanted to say thanks to Lee and Jenny, and I'm trying to look here, and Elena on here, Beth, massive Matt on here. I don't know if I missed anybody on there, but the staff for that turnaround. I don't think there's any of us, at least who are here, or any of our board members back wherever we are locally, that really can't see the value in Central Pines and what they provide. And I was thinking Johnston County, we've got 2 towns. I know they're looking at regionalization, so I know they are a help in whatever way you need the help, that they're there. I just want to thank Lee and all the staff for all that y'all have done over the years to make this a much better organization than it was a few years ago. So thank you guys for that. And that's what I had on me. So I will, unless anybody else has anything for the group, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
All right. Beth, did you get that? All right, then we are adjourned.